We finally reached the end. After all the ups and downs and god awful horror that this had to come to, we finally reached the final episode of Ironheart. And we've seen RiRi be a thief. We've seen RiRi be a blackmailer. We've seen RiRi be an extortionist. We've seen RiRi be a murderer. We've seen her be a selfish, self-centered cow who doesn't care about anyone or anything but herself and just goes along destroying stuff. But working for Satan, that's a whole new level of messed up. The weirdest thing about this whole thing is that there is, as we get to the end of this, you're going to realize that there really is no way to anybody could justify the crap RiRi Williams does anymore. You really can't, because this episode is the shortest episode out of all of them, and it really shows the level of nonsense that actually goes to it. Because as you start off, we go back to the flashback of when Parker had broken into his father's house all those years ago, he and John, and what had happened there in regards to it was what was going on with them. Because as you see it there, he is inside the house there with John. When he shoot the guard, the alarm go off, the guards are coming, so John tells him to run. He runs out and apparently can't climb over a gate because reasons, I guess. So the guards are chasing him and he's running there, and he ends up running down this he's running from them, trying to get away. He ends up running down this hill, and then he running into this tunnel. I don't know how big this estate is, and he gets cornered off because the guards are coming from behind him, and there's a guard coming from above, from in front of him, sorry, with a dog, because apparently they have to make this look as dramatic as possible. While he's there, however, a mysterious man shows up wearing the hood, the whole cloak and hood thing. And he pulls his gun and he wants to know who he is, what's going on. And the mysterious man tells him, what he could tell him who he is, or he could just open the door. And he's like, whoa, what door? And then suddenly a door appears and he tells him, are you coming? So left with no other choice, he goes through the door and disappears, and they end up inside of this restaurant. And while they're in there now, the man says that this is, he's a fan who wants to be in the Parker Robbins business. He wants to know who this person is, what it is. And, it's pretty much clear this man is Mephisto. At this point, he is Mephisto, and this is what happens. So he asks him, how do you even know me? And he man, oh man, you are a legend. It's basically the temptation of the devil. That's pretty much it. That's what it is. He's seeking him out because he knows exactly who he is. He knows that, he's an ambitious little twit who wants to get his daddy issues dealt with and take him in, and this is what's going on. So, he really greases him up and everything, and you're going to be greatest human of your generation and all of that, and this and stuff. And then he gives him a pizza to eat, all kind of thing. And while and Parker is distracted by this family who's over there laughing and things, so he stops them, like literally freezes everything, right? It doesn't you did that? And he says to him, yes. And he asks him, now let me ask you, what is it that you most desire? So before he could say anything actual relevant, the man looks to walk away. He's like, wait, look, I want to be respected. I want to be rich. I want to be like stupid, disgusting, greasy rich. Because, he wants all of that. He wants everything that his father had to get it. Now, God forbid you say, hey, let me actually put in the work, build myself as a human and get something that I actually want and make myself proud. So I don't need my father. I could show him that, despite what happened, I did it on my own. But no, best to just let the devil tempt you. That makes perfect sense. So, of course, He agrees to help him. He literally says he could give, he's going to give him the tools to get what he wants. Right? That's what he's going to do. So he agrees to make a literal deal with the devil because why not? So they shake on it and he gets up to him and he tells him, wait, you've forgotten your cloak. And he's like, no, that's not mine, it's yours. And he puts it, and Parker's like, oh, it looks expensive. That doesn't look expensive. It looks like something someone stole off someone who's a Shakespeare in the play, Park escapee. And that's what he does. So he puts it on, Nick tells him that, he will be in touch. Time comes and he walks out and leaves. And then everybody starts to move again and Parker puts on his hood. And then that's how he became the hood. That's the story of how the devil tempted him. Because why not? So when we get back to the present now, Parker is in his father's house with this whole spread of food, right? This whole spread of food, and there's this news report talking about how Artwork CEO has made an overnight exit, and that some new silent partner is it, and he has Joe there with him, who is still under his control, and he's forcing Joe to eat and stuff with him and all of that because that's what he's doing. So Joe asks him, why do you even still have me? And he's like, well, you'll need a place to lay low. No, you just want company because you're a dumbass. You ran off your criminal gang. You understand me? Good old cousin John is dead. And you got everything you wanted, only to realize now you feel empty as shit on the inside. That's what you get because daddy issues can't be solved by just taking what the man has. And how exactly does he have this? I don't understand. Signing a piece of paper doesn't automatically mean that you've taken over anything. Like I say, once you sign something under duress, you don't actually have to uphold it. You could send the police, just write it off, all of that. All of that, all these people are all this criminal activity, but none of these people will face any retribution for anything that they've done because that's how stupid this show is. So that's what he's doing there. And Parker comes over to him, he tells him that, did you really kill RiRi Williams? And Joe's like, yes. And he says, I would kill her again if I could. But then he tries to stab Parker with a fork, but can't do it because literally Parker has put in the command that, Joe has to protect him from everything, even himself. So he makes him stab himself in his leg. He tells him, he's nobody could hurt him, even you. And then Joe again, once again, even though Joe has some of the most flip-floppy reasons for the things he does, is really the only one who tells people exactly what they are. So he starts to tell him, you know what? He said, wow, you're a real piece of shit. Honestly. He just tells him that. And then he's like, what? Really? You got something to say? Speak. And then he tells him the gods are the truth. Do you know how silly you look? It's like, you've got all this power and you're doing what? Yeah, holding me hostage. Yeah, and Joe just continues to go with him, holding me hostage and playing dress up in dad's house. It's really ridiculous because he's telling him the gods are the truth. You look like an absolute dumbass. You went through all of this just so you could get your daddy's house and play dress up and hold clothes and walk around like you're some kind of king and like, oh, I suddenly belong here. No, this is why you build your own. You build your own thing so you could say, listen, I have this now. I've accomplished this. I've made myself a home. You went robbing, stealing, and killing people to take something that you can't even actually claim that actually belongs to you because you look like an asshole when you're doing it. Good Lord, boy. Imagine being that stupid. Yeah. And then he tells him again, you don't belong here. I mean, I really got to hand it to Joe Boy. He says, look, you don't belong here, and everyone knows it, and everyone's gonna know it. Is the truth. You're making a fool of yourself, and people are aware of that. You literally have a whole bunch of scars like lines growing all over your face because your soul has become so corrupted to the point. Because when he was making the deal with Mephisto, he literally asked Mephisto, "What do you get out of it?" And what did Mephisto tell him? Something small you won't even notice here because nobody notices when they lose their soul. Nobody notices that. No, that's perfectly fine. Nobody notices that at all. You literally sold your soul to the devil and you've made an ass of yourself, and it's the truth. And I gotta hand it to Joe. He's the only one telling the truth. He told RiRi the truth, and now he's telling this nitwit as well. So he did that like he gets everything, and then all of a sudden he's like he tells him, "You're absolutely right. I shouldn't be here." So yeah, so he's decided where is he gonna go back? The same little criminal hangout that he was with his criminal cohorts before. God, what an idiot, boy. All that time you wasted just to go right back to where you was before. And is it. Yeah, that's what's going on. So he goes there and he's trying to use tattoos to cover up all the marks and things that's coming up on his skin and all of that. Meanwhile, RiRi is attempting to bring back the AI Natalie. Right? She's trying to do the same thing like before, hook up brainwaves to the thing and try and do it, but it's not working. Everything she tries, it's not working, and she's getting really frustrated. The kids there, but I'm sorry you lost the Miss RiRi. I mean, I just call her idiot at this point. So she decides magic took her and magic can bring her back. So what does this moron decide she's going to do? She's going to go and take the cloak from Parker and use that to bring back Natalie. So I literally try to understand the so-called motivation of why people think this character could ever be called a hero. Because you had RiRi starting off this whole thing talking about how she wants to build this suit. She wants to be the best. And her literal motivations keep changing. First it was she wants to build the suit to be the best. Then she wants to build the suit to be iconic. Then she wants to build it because she can. Then that's what want to build it because you know why? What happened with Natalie and her stepfather? She was frozen. She couldn't do anything while they bled out and died. So she wants to build this suit to keep people safe. They tried to give her this kind of redeeming arc last time, but no, all of that has gone out the window now because you knowing how dangerous this cloak is and all this talk about how you want to get this cloak away from Parker to keep your friends and family safe, even though he's never gone after your friends or family, he's only ever tried to kill you. You understand me? All of that. You talking about how you want to get away, you want to get it away from him to save your friends and family goes out the window because now you want to go and take the cloak to use the dangerous, dark, evil magic to bring back the AI that you flicking got deleted because you're an idiot. This is what's going on. This is the whole big motivation of this nitwit, and we're supposed to just go along with it. So yeah. So, Zelma, they're like, we still don't even know why adding magic deleted Natalie. You don't know anything about this. You literally tried to add magic, literally added magic to your suit. You understand? With no clear indication of how the hell any of this works. No training in magic or anything like that. But suddenly it's just going to work the way she wants. But that's what's going on. So she goes into her suit and says to all of them, thank you for all that you've done. And I couldn't have done this alone. Oh, yes, the suit that she built, after whining and complaining so long that she needed millions of dollars to build this suit, she built one at MIT with the grant money that she had for 4 years and wasted, but she still built, I should say wasted because she built the suit. She built the suit. So I don't know what the hell she was still doing there. She then built yet another one, and now she's built this one from a car. But she clearly didn't need millions of dollars, but keep whining about it. How did Tony Stark build his first suit and an arc reactor again?
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
That's right. But no, we're supposed to believe she's some underprivileged child. Oh, God, it's so freaking stupid. So she takes off. Parker is trying to contact Mephisto, right? Because he's there, and then, Mephisto shows up and he's like, I don't like your tone. And then he says, I was telling him, where have you been? He says, like, I've always been close. Didn't you get my side? And then he says, you mean these scars and a vision whenever you feel like it? You promised me everything. And then Mephisto, who's gotten sick and tired of his crap, says that, I gave you all the tools that you needed to get everything, and you wasted it. You wasted it. And then while she's flying around now, because that's what happens, lands and walks in the door, because apparently going upstairs where he will be didn't make sense. You need to walk in the door dramatically. She comes in there and Joe is there, right? And she scans him and realizes that there's some kind of audio input controlling him and one than the other. And Joe tells her that, if Parker finds out that you're still alive, it's going to be bad for me, so I have no choice but to destroy, right? So that's what happens. And meanwhile, Mephisto and Parker are talking upstairs there because why not? And that's the real about it. But he then but then you see, Parker is telling Mephisto that, something's wrong. This isn't what you promised me. I got everything, but I still feel empty on the inside of it. And you see, this is the problem when you make deals with the devil. And this is something anybody with half a brain would understand, right? The devil gives you what you want, not what you need. So you get what you want by losing everything that you need, and then by extension, you lose what you wanted. God, however, gives you what you need, and by giving you what you need, you get what you want. There's a difference between light and dark, but when you're a nitwit, you don't figure that out. So like I say, Mephisto has pretty much given up on him because he has his sights set on somebody else now. Guess who that is? Guess who that is? So Joe and RiRi are there, and they're fighting. You understand me? Parker is out there with Mephisto. Mephisto says he's going to give him yet another chance, and Parker wants the cloak to be made even more powerful, right? He wants everything like that. RiRi is still fighting with Joe, trying to get him to stop, but he can't do it. So she tells him, listen to this idiotic thing, and she tells him, I'm going to have to knee you in the balls. And the explanation for this is because there is no tech there, and if I knee you in the balls hard enough, it'll cause a shock to your system, which will shut down temporarily so that she could hack the system and give him back control. Who are you kidding? You just want a needy white guy in the balls. That's the only reason that this whole thing was put in. You want to need the white guy in the balls. That's it. That's the whole reason in regards to that. That's all. So she does it, knees him in the balls. He's down there. And then she says she's going to put the implants there, but he was asleep. And then has the absolute gall, after she does this, to say to him, so we friends again? You ruined this man's life, took absolutely no responsibility for it, did nothing to help him. literally led him as a lamb till he slaughtered to this nutcase. You understand me? And then got him to do stuff, even though, he said he didn't want to do all of this stuff, anger, hatred, and thing led him to do this. So what does Joe tell her? I have millions of dollars worth of illegal, dangerous technology in me and a whole bunch of anger, but no place to put it. You and I aren't done. And then she just, leaves. Because that's it. And she doesn't, what? He doesn't, Joe's gone. That's what it is. He doesn't just know you and I aren't done. Because he's right. You ruined the man's life. You did this to him. But once again, RiRi will have to take absolutely no responsibility for anything that she does. She's always right and everybody else is wrong. That's how she works. So she goes and takes the elevator to go upstairs to where Parker is. Could have just flown up there, but whatever. So she goes up there. You understand me? He's drinking scotch, whatever. She comes in and he basically tells her, RiRi, something tells me that if I had to kill you, I would have to do it myself. So she's like, I'm not here for that. And he's like, so you came here to what? Fight me? But he turns around, takes one look at her suit and starts to laugh. And it's not because the suit looks ridiculous. He starts to laugh. I mean, the suit doesn't look bad. I'm just saying he starts to laugh. And the reason why he starts to laugh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's just you were so sure that you were one of the good ones. And it's the truth. You were so you were. Then he lays on some truth on her again. But now look at you. You have your fancy suit, but you won't use it to stop a speeding train or save the city from an asteroid. No, she has never done anything heroic. She built this suit for selfish reasons and wants to use it for selfish things as well. That is it, and it is the truth. Now, I don't know if the writers of this series at the end just got sick and tired of RiRi Williams and decided, you know what? We're just gonna do this and just character assassinate her all the way to the end. Maybe they did. Power to them if they did, but that's basically what it is. That's basically what it is. There's all of that. But then when he tells her, no, you just want this power for yourself. And it's the truth. She came there not because she wants to stop him anymore, No, that's taken a backseat once again to her own selfish whims. She wants the cloak to use that magic to bring back Natalie because that's what she wants. She doesn't consider the fact that this thing is dangerous and needs to be destroyed or something. No, that's what it is. And he's quite right. No, you just want this power for yourself. That's all she wants. That's all she wants. So what happens then? Mr. Man said, Jesus said, you're just like me. That's what it is. So he goes invisible and then she activates magic with the suit. How exactly, we don't know, because there is no explanation for how exactly, even if there is magic infused in the suit, how is she able to use it? It's not like you just turn on a kind of program. You need to have some way to actually get this done. You need to actually know how to use the proper kind of magic to deal with this. But no, she just activates this magical spell, right? Sends the energy out there, and that causes the cloak to literally, invisibility to literally stop. That's it. And then Hood is like, don't tell me that's magic. I thought you were all about tech. And she's like, she got to upgrade. So they start to fight, right? He's firing shots at her. She dodges it and starts to win with it. But then, and she's telling him, give me the hood. And he's like, you're going to have to kill me first. And then all of a sudden, this guy literally turns into Satan's bastard stepchild. Honestly, I mean, when you look at this shit, right, you see this. This is the extent of what dealing with Mephisto has done to this guy, right? RiRi can clearly see this. She can clearly see this. This is what he's turned into. His soul has just been gone corrupted to the point that this is what he has become. Right? We remember that she can clearly see this. And he's laughing maniacally and all of that. And then she said she activates an emergency protocol and blows things up. And she's crawling out there, on the ground there, crawling along stuff. He comes out there with two guns and points it at her, and she's like, please don't. And I mean, you could pretty much tell at this point this is a hologram, but once again, that's what's happening. So he gives her the whole, always it would come down to us. This one's for John, and he shoots at her, right? But when he does, it revealed that it's a hologram, right? She shows up behind him, basically wrangles the guns out of his hands, and then throws him off and rips the hood off of him. And he's screaming, and you're seeing like dark energy and mist standing coming off of him because that's what that shit has done to him, right? That's what it's done to him. And she's gotten the hood now, and he's there screaming, give it back, give it back, and she won't give it back to him because and he's like, you don't know what it's like without it. Yeah, this is why you shouldn't make deals with someone. He's like, it hurts. It's literally been tearing you apart, but that's what it is. And she's, I know. And he's still begging for it. Please. After all the criminal shit this guy has done, right? He's still there begging, and then she just walks away and leaves him there crying. She goes into the elevator and leaves him crying, right? On the ground there, literally leaves him crying. Perhaps you should have taken the criminal to jail, for the various murders that he has committed, as well as rounding up the rest of it. But none of these people, like I say, face any justice for anything they've done. He's killed multiple people, and she never even considers taking him to jail. Right? The rest of the gaylords of crime have committed multiple felonies as well, and are party to murder. They're scot-free as well. None of this ever happened because this so-called hero only cares about herself. She's selfish to the core, and that's it. She leaves this blubbering idiot there crying and walks away because she's gotten what she came for. That's all that matters to RiRi Williams. That is it. So she leaves, goes into the elevator, goes down there. When she goes down there now, who's there? Mephisto. Because he's been waiting for her because he wants to give her the deal too. So she comes down there and like she wants to know have we met, all of that, and he's like, we have some mutual acquaintances, but we'll get to that, right? And then he literally makes her suit vanish, right? And she's like, oh great, another magical ass soul. So she sits down there with him, right? And then she's you're the one who gave Parker the hood, right? And she calls him Dormammu. And he's like, no, I wouldn't even let Dormammu wipe my behind or anything like that. And then he reveals himself as Mephisto. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, Mephisto is literally the devil in the Marvel universe. You know the whole Spider-Man one more day thing where Spider-Man gave up his 20-year marriage to Mary Jane to save Aunt May. He made that deal with Mephisto, the devil, and ruined Peter Parker's life. But here, this one is sitting down there, and the devil is corrupting her. right? Basically telling her that, finds himself always at the short end of the stick and that I can help you. I can do things, for he's worked with people before. For example, out of the Forbes 100 richest list, he's worked with like 100 of them, and we work with a Beatle, Ringo, and all of that. And as he's talking to her, thing keep flashing back, telling her, she's so accomplished, um, a once in a millennium kind of mind, and he can help her and all of that. Yeah, and she doesn't tell me, she calls him Dormammu, and he laughs and says he's not Dormammu, and all of that. And if it ain't Dormammu, then what? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself. Well, I go by a lot of names. Some of them are actually a bit cruel and hurtful to me, like Satan. But I like you, Riri, so you can call me Mephisto, right? And when he tells her that, she's like, is that supposed to mean something to me? Maybe if you'd bothered to get a bit more information, it would have meant something to you. But since you don't seem to care, why not? What else is that going to do? So he literally invigorates her into taking a deal with him, right? He literally was, because he tells her that he wants to know what it is she most desires, what it is that she wants more than anything. And as she's down there, she starts to think about it. You get a little flash forward to the future there, and you see her writing out some script or something there on the stuff. And then Natalie's back. And she's AI Natalie and stuff, and she's happy to see her and all of this. And while this is going on, you're getting an idea of exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. Because she said another, they say that time heals all wounds, but that's not true. The pain, it never goes away, but he can help her, what you want, all of that. And she's talking to this Natalie and telling Natalie to, reset and all kind of thing like that. But Natalie ain't having any of that. And then RiRi Williams, greedy, narcissistic, sycophant criminal that she is, says to him, if I do this, right? If I agree to this, it's just me that you want, right? And you're like, yes. So she's like, she's like that, right? So yeah, so she asks, what's in it for you? And he says, something small, you won't even notice it. He extends his hand, right? And she takes it, because he says his hand, and she literally does take it. She accepts the deal, right? She accepts the deal because when it reaches forward, I think, and Natalie touched her, right? Natalie actually touched her and pushed her head back. That's when you come to realize this isn't some AI hologram. This is the real Natalie, right? This is the real Natalie he's brought back. This lunatic made a deal with the devil to bring Natalie back, right? And she hugs her there. Natalie has no idea what's going on because you know what, and she's there hugging her, and she says, what? I'm happy you're home. And then you start to see the literal corruption starts to spread on her there. RiRi Williams, people, made a deal with the devil to bring her dead friend back. And that's not it, because now she works for Mephisto. Once you see this starting to spread on her here, that is sign that she has been corrupted by him. Her soul has been corrupted by it. You understand me? She now works for the devil. That's what she did. That is it. This is not some game. This is not something. This lunatic actually went out and made a deal with the devil. And like we're going to say, she saw what it did to Parker. She saw what it did to him. How it literally corrupted the living father and son out and basically turned into a flicking hellspawn, demonic looking thing. Understand me? And she made a deal to bring Natalie back because it's what she wants. Selfish to the core. You are not a hero. You're not helping anybody. You just a selfish twit who wants what you want and don't care what anybody else did. You actually went off there to go, rather than your so-called talk about how you just want to protect your friend or the other. No, you went there to get the cloak, to get what you wanted. Made a deal with the literal devil to get what you wanted, to bring Natalie back. And we don't even know if this actually is the real Natalie. This could be some demon in disguise. But even if it is the real Natalie, you have corrupted your soul and you now work for Satan. That's what you've done. This is not some one time, oh, well, you did that for me and now we're done kind of business. No. Peter Parker made a deal with Mephisto for his marriage, and his entire life has been crap. Non-stop crap. You understand me? You made a deal with the devil. Do you think that's how one? No, you now work for Satan. That is what this show has done. This is the worst episode and the worst thing I have seen. This is how bad this is. RiRi Williams is not a hero. She's not inspirational. She's not anything other than just a mess. That's it. You work with Satan now. That is what you do. That is what you do. And that's where it ends. They have a little, they go through a little nonsense here, and then they have a little thing at the end, a little, something there where Parker goes in to the store and meets this girl here who wears some weird t-shirts. I think it's Zelma is her name, and he comes in there saying that he needs to get some magical help, all of that, because he is corrupted as sin. She should know that. She should know exactly what this guy is. She should be able to feel the energy on him and what he's done to himself, but she still wants to do that. And he says that he needs some supreme like help and he's some magic, and he basically invigorates her to help him with some magical nonsense. That's it. This is the one and only season this crap should ever get. That's how bad this is. RiRi Williams is an absolute embarrassment to any and all things. This is why Disney left this nonsense to rot on the shelves for over 2 years, only to release this now to show the absolute worst a person could be. It's finally over, and my final rating for episode 6. My final rating for Ironheart episode 6, I am giving this 5 out of 5. This is this is a new low for Disney and the MCU. Really, really new low. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.